If you enjoy the content, I would appreciate you hitting the subscribe button and checking out my socials. The new major champions have claimed the throne, showing a high level of understanding of maps like Overpass. The B Rotator on Vitality is a key piece, massively supporting and allowing the B bomb site to flourish in unfair duels. Hey, I'm Smirky, and today I want to look at Apex and how he acts as the B Rotator on the CT side of Overpass, so let's begin. But want to get individual training and CS classes for 30 days for 50 cents on your first month?
Affirmative.
Well, thanks to today's sponsor, CSGO Academy, you can.
Yes, my friends, yes!
CSGO Academy is the CS school where you can join frequent classes hosted by various pro players and coaches. In these classes, you can submit demos in the Discord to be reviewed and critiqued by the coaches, or join them in theory sessions on a map. And I will also be hosting some of these sessions myself. On top of this, they host weekly scrims where you can jump into a 5v5 with coaches on both teams, helping you during and after the game.
Our enemies tremble.
This entire course is $29 per month, but again, you can try the course for pretty much free for 30 days by using code Smirky at checkout, which equates to 12 classes. Now go on and rank up. Now let's begin with Apex's smokes. At the start of every round, Apex will throw this monster smoke. This is a pretty standard smoke, but it will help with gaining monster control and preventing rushes. But also during the mid round, Apex will get a drop to smoke from either Magisk or Dupree, and this will allow him to re-smoke monster later in the round. In this, we can see Apex is going to throw this flash to get teased off the angle. Then he's going to move to this corner, line a smoke up, and left click throw. And Apex will throw this monster smoke during the mid round, roughly around the 1 minute mark. And we can see against C9, this forces Nathany to fall away. Now, what does Apex do after his monster smoke? Well, typically he will always go towards CT, playing in this area. In this area, he might spam the wood, or he might do this HE. By aiming above the shadow and jump throwing, this lands directly in front of the short pipe. And this will hurt players trying to run through the short pipe smoke, or trying to use it as a one way. After throwing the nade, we can see Apex again is going to spam wood, trying to deal damage to players inside of connector. In round 3, we can see Apex will think about doing it, but I'm guessing because their short molly hasn't been put out, he isn't going to throw it. Afterwards, it will make his way to this corner and start doing the same spam. And this spam will hurt players trying to run out of the short pipe, dealing some nice damage. And against C9, we can see Apex is really close into hitting Hobbit, but Hobbit dodges the shots. Alternatively, Vitality may do an early boost. In this, Dupree, the short player, will be boosting Apex. Dupree's going to use a special lineup, allowing Apex to crouch jump on top of his head. Meanwhile, Magisk is going to be in pit, ready to throw this pot flash if Apex spots anyone in short. Once ready, Apex jumps up, has a quick glance, but then falls off, not wanting to give away any openings since it is a pretty common boost. The lineup Dupree was doing was this. If you're the one boosting, you want to make sure you're standing, and you want to make sure you get to this point. The point where your character steps down. Once you've done that, your boosted player can just crouch jump and peek into short. In round 12, we can see Vitality will do it again. He has a quick look, doesn't see anything, but will then decide to throw this nade. And the purpose of this nade is to deal damage to any players behind the Molotov, since the boost is mainly to catch players running out of it. And this will work really well, dealing some nice damage onto him. Now let's take a look at some AAA setups. Typically twice a game, Apex will want Vitality to have 3 players on A. So let's take a look at some of their setups. In this round, we're going to see a 2-party and 1 long setup. In this, Apex is ready to catch any players running fast out of playground. However, I would argue he might want to play a bit closer, as we can see Zyru is holding it from party, so he could peek out late and get the frag. But unfortunately, when he goes for a push, LAKEY peeks out and well, it doesn't go well. Alternatively, you could play the same setup, but instead of having Apex on long, you can have him in connector. By having him in connector, he can listen out for any information in fountain, connector, and he's ready to bounce a HE off this con wall if he spots anyone in con, and could also throw a HE off this party wall if he hears anything in fountain. But soon after, he decides to rotate to B. The last setup I want to showcase is something pretty aggressive. In this, Apex is going to go fast into party and watch playground, ready for anyone to run out quickly. Meanwhile, Spinks will throw the stair smoke, run through it and go into fountain, ready for anyone to scale up against the wall. Meanwhile, we have Zyru in connector. And this setup is designed to throw a span into the works against the T-side defaults, catching them by surprise. Now, as we saw at the start of the video, Apex will commonly start towards CT, and during the mid round, he will most commonly play towards CT again. But in this area, he will be doing a lot of different stuff. So let's first have a look at his jump spots. Apex will occasionally go for jump spots. In this round, we can see he's going to make his way towards bridge, go for a jump spot, and he can't see anything in short or inside of connector. But soon after, he'll make his way to this plank of wood and start spamming, trying to find players inside of connector. Once again, Apex is going to go for another jump spot, but this time he's going to throw a HE, dealing some nice damage onto Nafany. But after the HE, he goes for a different jump spot, where he can see a lot more information on short, but do be aware, it is a lot more riskier. And with this jump spot, he spots one player inside of connector, so he quickly tries to spam him to see if he can get some easy damage. The next thing I want to look at is Apex's flashes inside of graffiti. At times, Apex might just be sat in graffiti holding a flash, and this flash is really good, as it will slow down the momentum of the T side, preventing the B players from being rushed down, and allowing Vitality to have the advantage in fighting blind Ts. And against outsiders, we can see this flash will come into light, as it will get the T side, but unfortunately dupreeh peeks out a bit too soon, fighting players who are not yet blind. And against the Gamer Legion, we can see the exact same thing. He's playing towards CT, Gamer Legion will try to execute, so he will start using his util to defend the execute. He will first Molotov short, afterwards he will use his flashbang, and this flashbang will land deeper, giving you a better chance of getting more Ts blind. And this flash is also perfect if you're playing behind barrels, as you can't get blind from it. But if you are playing behind pillar, you do want to turn away and then go for the fights. Something else I noticed from Apex is that whenever the T side will try to execute onto the site, he will always try to make his way into pit. In this round, Gamer Legion will try to execute, dupreeh will shut them down and he makes his way in, later peeking out, defending short. And by Apex going into pit, it can make it a lot harder to get onto the site, as you're having to clear 3 different players to move up. Against C9, we can see Apex will do this again. He will make his way in, hide inside of pit, watching the left side of pillar, thinks about peeking short, but quickly tucks away. And I think he does this because A, they have the 3v2 advantage, and B, if he keeps hold of pit control, it can make it so much harder for C9 to hold the bomb site during the afterplant, making it easier for Vitality to make their way in and go for the retake. Something else I want to showcase is Apex's defensive smoke. I've seen Apex go underneath heaven to line the smoke up. To line the smoke up, crouch, aim at this point and stand up. And once the T side execute onto the site, you can just left click throw the smoke. Against Gamer Legion, he isn't going to use it, but against Cloud9 we will see it. When Apex throws a smoke, we can see it's going to completely block out the left side of pillar, either forcing Cloud9 to go around it, or get grid screen and go through it. And if you do go through it, you have to deal with either 2 or more players holding it. And if Apex did throw the smoke and there was a player on pillar, it can also make it easier to defend the default plant, as he can just use the smoke as a one-way. Lastly, we might see Apex play instead of Heaven, and Apex might play Heaven if he wants to lean a bit towards A but also help B. By Apex being in this position, he can watch the left side of pillar, preventing the T side from just running out, giving less angles for Magis to worry about. But in this round, he will occasionally check short, just to make sure no one's coming out. Alternatively, if you are playing inside of Heaven, you can just go onto the railings and jump spot, trying to find any information inside of connector. Next, I want to showcase how Apex is a really supportive member on that B bomb site. Apex will typically set his teammates up to frag, as we saw before. In round 5 against Gamer Legion, Apex is wanting to smoke off Monster, so first Apex will line himself up for a flash, and when ready, he will left click for it, allowing Dupree to peek out, and then get Monster smoked off. Another way he can support his teammates is inside of connector. At the start of the round, we can see Apex will nade off the con door, which is typically done by Dupree. Afterwards, he will aim here and left click for this flash. This flash will get players inside of connector and affect some areas inside of the short pipe. Later in the round, we're going to see this flash being used, and this will allow Spinks to peek out and to hunt for any players, but he doesn't get anything. Now, another part to the B defense is their offense, typically on short. Vitality enjoys pressuring short, and this is to either make it difficult for Gamer Legion to default, or they will do it in the mid round where they need information, or perhaps at a disadvantage. In this round, we can see Apex is going to throw this Molotov, which will land inside of the cubby, forcing any T-side players into Dupree's crosshair. Afterwards, Apex will smoke off Monster and rotate A, since they've got the control. In round 9, we could see something similar, but this time he will add a HE to it, and the B bomb site will go for 1 on short. Alternatively, Apex may throw this Molotov as a fake. In round 15, we can see Apex is going to throw the Molotov into cubby, perhaps trying to get Gamer Legion's attention on short. Meanwhile, the B players are trying to creep out of Monster, but unfortunately in this round, it doesn't quite work out. And lastly, another way you can pressure short is by boosting, which we showed at the start. But this time, we're going to see Magis throw his flash, allowing Apex to peek up and get the kill onto Hobbit. Now the last thing I want to look at is Apex's rotations. As a rotate player, you need to understand when you need to rotate to A or perhaps stay on B. So I'm just going to give you a few scenarios which you can use to help make your decisions in game. Sometimes Apex will rotate onto the B bomb site when his 8 players are fell off mid early. This will typically be because either A, they've took a lot of damage, or B, there's a lot of presence. In this, we can see there's going to be a lot of presence on long, so Apex will make his way over to help defend it with a Sphinx, which they successfully do. And again, in round 11, we can see something similar. There's a lot of presence on A, so Apex will make his way up onto A to help defend the site. Another scenario he may rotate is when they need him to hold a position. In this round, the A players are wanting to double up inside of toilets, and they need someone to hold long. So Apex will fill that task. He'll make his way over, go for some jump spots, and just play behind dice. And in round 9 we can see something similar. The A players are playing double long, so he'll rotate his way over, holding bathrooms. After watching Apex's demos, I've noticed he's quite reactive. Apex rotations and util is used reactively. He flashes and mollies when he needs to, and he will move to A if they have B control or there are issues on A. He's active. Apex will always be doing something and never just holding an angle. Either he will be jump spotting, spamming, nading, or holding a flash out. Lastly, he's supportive. He will always try to set his teammates up to allow them to frag. Once he's out of util, he will make his way over to fight with them. Your overpass B rushes are overcomplicated. Check out this video I did where I broke down Vitality's fast B rush, where they had efficient flashes and entry pathing. That video can be found in the description. Apart from that, thanks for watching. Cheers goes to Academy for the sponsor. See ya in a bit.